So, we have a DHS governance board, a disinformation governance board. If it sounds Orwellian, it's because it is. It's the opposite of what this country's about. And this guy is the head of it. So this is the head. His name is Alejandro Mayorkas. And he is the head of the Department of Homeland Security. And he seems like the last guy you would, doesn't he? He looks like Dr. Evil. And he's going to protect your freedom and your liberty by taking away your freedom and your liberty. And so Rand Paul confronted him at a Senate hearing over their new idea to have a disinformation governance board. It's just a big censorship board. And here's what he says.
Do we have policies? Do we have guardrails? Do we have standards?
But here's the problem. We can't even agree. We can't even agree what disinformation is. You can't even agree that it was disinformation, that the Russians fed information to the Steele dossier. If you can't agree to that, how are we ever going to come to an agreement on what is disinformation so you can police it on social media? I think you've got no idea what disinformation is, and I don't think the government's capable of it. Do you know who the greatest propagator of disinformation in the history of the world is? The U.S. government. Are you familiar with McNamara, the Pentagon Papers? Are you familiar with George W. Bush and the weapons of mass destruction? Are you familiar with Iran-Contra? I mean, think of all the debates and disputes we've had over the last 50 years in our country. We work them out by debating them. We don't work them out by the government being the arbiter. I don't want you guardrails. I want you to have nothing to do with speech. You think we can't determine, speech by traffickers is disinformation? You think the American people are so stupid they need you to tell them what the truth is? You can't even admit what the truth is with the Steele dossier. I don't trust government to figure out what the truth is. Government is largely disseminating disinformation.
Bam. It's about goddamn time somebody said that shit to someone like that. What, you think it would be a journalist, right, that would say that to them? No. It had to be a senator. A senator said that. The biggest disseminator of disinformation is the U.S. government, which is what we've said at this show since we started it. The biggest liars are the government. The second biggest liars are the corporate news people. Everybody else is in a distant third.
Yeah, I think either Rand Paul or some of his staffers been watching the Jimmy Dore show, because I've heard you say that so many times, and it's the truth. And it's it just feels so weird to see someone in the Senate in a Senate testimony speaking truth, because we just never see it ever. So I watch this and I'm like, oh, that's an odd feeling.
Isn't it weird though that like everybody knows these things, like the Pentagon, all the stuff he mentioned. Even if you don't know anything, you just watch movies. Even just like a fictional movie, it's always about how they're secretly doing something else and lying. And then somehow they're like, yeah, but in real life, they don't lie. I don't know how that works, but everybody knows this.
It's because the media has people from the head of the CIA and the FBI and all their spooks sitting in green rooms and on TV panels 24/7. And so now we've just come to think that the government doesn't lie to us, I guess. When you see the head of the CIA on MSNBC or CNN, you know what he's doing? He's lying. And they don't ever question them. They never push back like Rand Paul just did against this guy. You'll never see Rachel Maddow say that. You'll never see Anderson Cooper say that. You'll never see Jake Tapper say that to that guy. They'll never say that. The biggest liars are you guys. They'll never say that.
Well, it's you know what it is. That's all like we're in a war on Trump, and we'll do anything except our jobs well to prevent him from coming. So any little propaganda that helps the war effort, it's what's necessary.
That's exactly right. The war on Trump and Trumpers. That's what this is. Hey, we're not going to actually legislate in a way that makes people want to vote for Democrats. So we have to do these brutal forms of censorship.
The best part is Trumpers. Mayorkas, he handpicked Nina Jankowicz, who's been just made fun of to the nth degree, to be the disinformation czar. And you can go back and look at her Twitter from just a few years ago when she was crying on Twitter about Trump having the capability to censor people online, or she was crying about Viktor Orban in Hungary, who's a social right-winger, about his censorship opportunities and what he's done there. I mean, it's just insane. These people don't know the monster that they're creating.
They are the monster. That's the thing. And so what I said, that was a gaffe that Rand Paul pulled, because a gaffe is when a politician tells the truth. And so that was definitely a gaffe, and people like me are going to use that forever. That piece of videotape, that is forever. I'm going to, if I could make a t-shirt out of that video, I would. So I like this tweet. The U.S. government, number 1, U.S. government. Number 2, mainstream corporate media. Number 3, the new Ministry of Truth was created so that number 2 can confirm what number 1 said was true. That's exactly how it works. So you go to turn on CNN or MSNBC or the Young Turks, and they go, oh no, the government said this, so it's true. Oh, we're fact checking for the government here, and yeah, it's true. And that's how you get Syria. And that's how you get Libya. That's how you get the Ukraine war. That's how you get Afghanistan for 20 years. That's how you get an invasion of Iraq. People just taking the word of government. Instead of what they're supposed to do is your jumping off point is the government is lying. Now I just have to figure out where. That's what we should have did with the COVID policy. They're lying. I wonder where it is. And of course, it was all around the Barrington Declaration, and I don't have to go into it. It was everywhere when it came to COVID. They're nonstop lying. They're still lying. Anything you guys would like to say about this? This is that was an amazing piece of video, and it's a truth. And Democrats will never pass that around because A, they don't agree with it, and B, Rand Paul said it. Anyway,
that guy handpicked that crazy TikTok lady.
Yes, that's the guy.
That's his personal.
Yep.
That guy looks like a crazy mad scientist, Dr. Evil guy. I would never want anywhere near regulating speech. This guy, that guy. And I'm going to show you in my next segment, I caught this guy lying at the top of his lungs, right into a camera. The guy who's supposed to be protecting us from lies and disinformation, of course, is the biggest liar there